Hey guys, looks like you were saddled with handling those crypto things, huh? Or is it that they're the monster you encountered back in the old mine outside of Mainz? Yeah, it's hard to say what they are beyond that exactly, but we're going to keep investigating until we find out. Fran, is something bothering you? It's just I don't want anything to happen to you guys. They say cryptids are supposed to be crazy strong. Well, that much is definitely true. But I promise we won't bite off more than we can chew. You don't have to worry so much, Fran. Yeah, I know. Triple S has already made it through way tougher things than this. But I'll keep cheering you on all the same, and once you come home, you'll have a patented Fran Seeker smile on your terminal waiting to hear from you. Hell yeah, I called dibs on making the next report to Fran. Here your current mission has you working with our local bracers. Who'd have thought at the start of the year that you'd reach the point where you could stand shoulder to shoulder with the guild? The Triple S never ceases to amaze me. So we should have a lot here. So, the usual recording. 500 Mira, U material. Jeez, should have had more than that. I think she's lowballing us, boys. Don't want to talk to him. How's it going, Triple S? Had a feeling I'd be seeing you soon. I heard you all had been trusted with investigating the cryptids. That's right. Keeping your ear to the ground for what we're up to, are we? Don't flatter yourself. The decision was made by the CGF, so it's only natural the news would travel along the grapevine. I've also been informed that these monsters are anything but ordinary. Battling them will be no easy task. Be sure not to underestimate them. We won't. Thank you for the warning. That aside, it looks like you're being rushed off your feet with counterintelligence work. What do you expect after Qua wouldn't propose independence with half the continent's leaders in the same room? We've got spies coming out of the woodwork trying to get in a crossbow to find out what will happen next. Our hands are full trying to keep tabs on them. Are there really that many? There's also the Red Constellation Hayway to contend with. And of course we can't ignore the more common criminals either. The situation we find ourselves in has us covering multiple bases at once. It's to the point where the 2nd Division's been taking on cases that would usually be entrusted to the 1st Division. Hence why we had to have this little two-man huddle here. That does explain why the two of you are spending quality time together. Hard times can lead to some strange bedfellows, eh, boys? Shut it, Orlando. The point is, it doesn't matter how thin we're stretched. Duty calls, so we'll do what we must. Anyway, you should all focus on what's been tasked to you as well. This crypto business isn't something that can be ignored. We know. We'll take care of it. 2nd Division's been sent out with some cases that normally be entrusted to the 1st. We do have a large backlog of cases, but I suggest you leave the counter-espionage effort to us. Focus on taking care of the work you've been tasked with. And let's see if he's back already. Nope. Okay, the conversation I'm not looking forward to having. Margaret, how could you do this to me? You never had eyes for other men before. What changed? I have to do something before I lose her for good. I must. It's Vice Commissioner Pierre. Now often you see him on the 1st floor. Looks like something's troubling him. The Triple S. How long have you all been standing there? Don't tell me you heard what I was saying just now. Well, we didn't catch anything specific if that makes you feel better. Though you did mention something about a Margaret having eyes for other men. Could that be the name of your favorite hostess, Vice Commissioner? How dare you! You watch your slanderous mouth! Margaret is the name of my missus. Missus? You mean your wife? Yes, you fool. Between losing my wedding ring and being passed over for the role of commissioner, she's been nagging me like never before. Wait, what am I doing telling you all of this? That's right, the Vice Commissioner came off as pretty whipped when he lost his ring. That was months ago. From the sound of things, it's still giving him grief. So be it, I have no choice. Beggars can't be choosers at times like these. Look alive, Triple S, I'm giving you a top-secret mission straight from your Vice Commissioner. Top secret? What are you talking about? I'll be frank, I would like for you to investigate my wife. You want us to look into your old lady? Would utilizing your position for private matters not violate department policy? You let me worry about department policy. Time is of the essence here. Consider it a formal support request or whatever they're called if it makes you feel better. Now what do you say? Guess that we could. What should we do? Help the poor guy out, I guess. Okay, you clearly need a hand, so can you start over from the beginning? And this will have to be its own video. You'll really help me then? Good, I'll tell you everything you need to know, but not out in the open. Follow me up to my office, we can discuss the details there. Your wife has been seeing a host? That's right. As I understand, she's been going to several such clubs lately. However, there's one host in particular whom she's been meeting with in secret. And you're positive this man is a host. I was about to ask the same thing. Don't you think you should have a little more faith in your wife? I do, but I decided to risk it all to find out for sure. That's how I came across the evidence in her purse. Margaret's meeting with a mystery man named Clyde. It was right here in her daily planner. What kind of man has a name like that? It's a stage name. He has to be a host. I wouldn't call that irrefutable, but I wouldn't say he's categorically wrong either. Dude's grasping for every straw he can find. So you think she's seeing a host, do you? Sorry to tell you, but I've never heard of one who goes by Clyde, and believe me, I would have. What? Seriously, Wazy? It's a social business, generally speaking. I know the names of all the hosts working the clubs in the entertainment district. Can't rule out the chance that he's some rookie who slipped by notice, though. Wait just a minute, you seem awfully knowledgeable about all this. Don't tell me you're the new addition to the Triple S, the one who is in fact a host? Why, yes. You scoundrel! You remember the police force. What would people say if they found out what you did off-duty? Please try to calm down, Vice Commissioner. What matters right now is figuring out what exactly your wife has been up to. That's right. And trust us, we've already tried to lecture him on that particular issue. There's no getting through to him. Their words, not mine. Back on topic, you mentioned searching through your wife's purse, correct? Not that I condone the act, but did you find anything that might benefit our investigation? Let me think. Now I remember. Her appointment reminders also had a location penciled in alongside them. Apparently she's been visiting the restaurant in Central Square almost every afternoon. The restaurant in Central Square, you mean Vancette? If this Clyde truly is a host, why would you meet your wife in broad daylight? It's not uncommon. A little secret tryst while the husband's at work. Happens more often than you'd think. Plenty of hosts have regulars they only meet up with during the day. Then I'm right, aren't I? Again, Vice Commissioner, settle down, and could you stop riling him up on purpose, Wazy? Who, me? Why, I'd never. At any rate, I think we have a good grasp of the situation now. Would you mind stepping back and leaving the investigation to us? Fine, whatever you think is best. Just make sure you get to the bottom of this. But do so with the utmost discretion, am I clear? Understood, we'll get right on it. Man, I can't believe we agreed to this. To be fair, the Vice Commissioner did seem genuinely concerned about his wife. I think it's worth investigating until we see the truth of the matter for ourselves. If we must. So where should we begin? Let's try the restaurant in Central Square first. If his wife has been there with this alleged host often, we might be able to get some information from the two directly. Sounds like as good a place to start as any. Shall we be off? Why is he so into this? Pierre's marital peril started. Central Square. Let's go over here to Vancette. Look. Sounds like Navi right there. You have a keen eye, Margaret. Forgive me if I'm being out of line, but you are truly wasting on your husband. Oh, Clyde, you always have such a way with words. That's the man we were told about, and sure enough, he's with the Vice Commissioner's wife. So this is Clyde, is it? He doesn't look like any host I've ever met before. We should grab a seat nearby so we don't call any attention to ourselves. There's a chance we'll manage to find something out. Understood. Let's split up and sit at different tables then. They're not sitting in the important seats. Yes, I looked over that pamphlet from before. After seeing those photos, well, I just about fell in love on the spot. Did you now? Perhaps the two of us go and visit sometime then. If you like, I can even arrange for a room at the hotel. Now, there's no need for that. I've already gone. The view is just magnificent, not a single thing to complain about. That's wonderful. Certainly simplifies things too, and now we can move the plans forward a bit, and... They do seem comfortable around each other. Sounds like they're planning a trip to Michelin together. Still, something seems off. To start with, the guy's being way too much of a kiss-ass. We still don't have any decisive evidence, though, yet. Let's keep listening in, then. Well, now, with that out of the way, I'll just be excusing myself. Of course, oh, and I'll see you again at the club? At Nuit Blanc in the entertainment district, yes, you can expect me there, ma'am. I wouldn't want to keep you from what you've been dreaming of any longer than necessary. I can hardly wait. Guess the date is over. What should we do, Lloyd? We've yet to find anything concrete. Let's keep tailing them. Randy, Wazy, and I'll go after Clyde. Ellie, Tio, Noelle, you three follow Margaret. Make sure you don't get spotted no matter what. Understood? Let's blow this joint. Things aren't heating up nicely. Sorry to keep you waiting, Clyde. I brought what we discussed. Received a briefcase. Yes, thank you very much, sir. So, how did things go? Very well, actually. She's been quite enthusiastic about the idea. We'll close the deal later at Nuit Blanc. It's good to hear. It's almost time for the next cruise ship to leave. I'll head back to Michelin and make sure everything is in order. It's all up to you now, Clyde. Secure this contract and I'll rock you straight to the top of the firm. We'll lay you down, sir. Okay, Clyde, you've got this. There he goes. The guy sure is fired up. From the sound of it, he's meeting up with the Vice Commissioner's wife at Nieuwe Blanc. What should we do now? No need to keep tailing him now that we've got what we need, right? Let's contact Ellie and the others. We should regroup at Police HQ for now. I think we have just enough to nail down who this Clyde person really is. Afterward, Lloyd contacted Ellie and the others who started shadowing the Vice Commissioner's wife. They decided to meet at the police department, relay information. How'd the investigation go? Has my wife been having an affair with a host or what? Please calm down, Vice Commissioner. Ellie, what happened when you trailed Miss Margaret? It's not Miss, it'd be Mrs., because, you know, she's married. Well, we watched her as closely as we could, but we didn't notice anything out of the ordinary. She eventually went back home to the residential district. She didn't meet with anyone else on the way. However, she does plan to meet this Clyde person at Nieuwe Blanc later. What? What does he think he's doing, taking my wife to a seedy place like that? That's the last straw. I'll assemble an entire SWAT team and storm Nieuwe Blanc. I told you to calm down, Vice Commissioner. Last thing you want to do is send armed officers there, you know, considering who owns the place. Well, what am I supposed to do then? For every second we waste, that host gets closer, sinking his lecherous fangs in my Margaret. I don't think you have to worry about her falling prey like that. At least not as far as hosts are concerned. What do you mean? Wazy had it figured out from the start, but I don't think this Clyde is a host at all. Pardon me? Well, if he isn't a host, then what in Adios' name is he? He's a salesman. He's most likely a salesman. A salesman? Going off his speech patterns, it did sound like he wanted to sell something, just not his body or a good time. Exactly, his attitude in itself is proof that he's anything but a host. Gentlemen such as myself work hard to give lonely madam... I think that's supposed to be madams? Because madame... Like, yeah, that's... I don't know how they came up with that. So it's most likely supposed to be madams. Brief reprieve from their otherwise painfully mundane lives. A top-class host escorts his lady with courtesy, but he would never humble himself more than necessary. We aren't there to grovel. I don't know if I'd put it quite like Wazy did, but my conclusion is more or less the same. From what I could tell, Clyde and your wife didn't look like they were having an affair. If I push, I'd say they came off more as a buyer and seller. That's the impression I got anyway. Seeing as they met several times now, it wouldn't be unreasonable to say they were working out a business deal of some kind. If this is all true, then what sort of purchase is he sweet-talking my wife into? If we keep running with this theory, I think we can figure out what kind of salesman he is. Clyde most likely deals in, and the clue was the view. The only one that matters here would be real estate. He was trying to sell her a property? Now that you mention it, Michelin came up during their conversation at Vancette. First I thought it was about a vacation, but that pamphlet suggested otherwise. He's probably promoting upscale properties for sale in Michelin. Plus, after he tailed him to the Harbor District, Clyde received something from a man in a suit. That's right, the way they spoke to each other gave me the sense it was his boss. He might have been delivering him a contract of some sort that needed a signature. If we piece all this together, Clyde is a real estate agent who's been in talks with your wife about buying a property. It's going along smoothly. Miss Margaret was so receptive she went to Michelin herself to scope out the location. Assuming this is all true, to explain why she's been mean with the man so often. Yeah, it's all starting to fall into place. And today they entered the final negotiations, which means the contract will be signed during their meeting at Nieuwe Blanc. Yes, I think I get the gist of it now. Wait just a second. That mean Margaret is trying to buy property in Michelin without even consulting me, wouldn't it? I'm not made of money. Does she know how little a vice commissioner makes? Just how does that woman expect to scrounge up that kind of mira? Maybe she took out a loan? That's a possibility. He may have even convinced her to take out an unreasonably large one. This is worse than I could have imagined. I know what I must do. I'm going to storm into Nieuwe Blanc myself. I'm not going to let this shark swindle my wife right underneath my nose. I'll give this Clyde fellow a piece of my mind and drag Margaret out of there if it's the last thing I do. Thus spoke the henpecked husband. I feel like I just flipped some horrible switch inside of him. I'll tell you what, we're already here, so why don't we all go and lend you a hand? Wouldn't be wise to charge a Nieuwe Blanc all by your lonesome, don't you think? Can't argue with that, but is that really the reason you want to go? You have a real penchant for chasing drama, you know that, Wazy? I haven't the slightest clue what you mean. Regardless, if we don't hold him back, I highly doubt anyone else will. Yeah, we don't got much choice. I'm not too stoked about it, but I think I can get us into the place. My old pal Zach's probably on bouncer duty at the door right about now. What the devils are you all mumbling about over there? I'm headed for New Blanc and you're coming with me, that's final. Yes, sir. And that's what's up. Think you'll let us squeeze on by, Zax? Oh, and we'll want to keep this a secret from Shirley and Uncle Sigmund, but I'm sure you already knew that part. I was just wondering when you'd show up again. Didn't think it'd be as an errand boy, though. You really have lost your touch, huh, Commander Randolph? Just like the young missus said. Stop calling me that already. I think this is the same Jaeger we saw in front of Crimson & Co. before. Alright, I'll look the other way this once. Think of it as a little favor from me to you. Just don't stir up any trouble inside, got it? Won't say a peep to the young miss or the vice leader either. Sound good? Just dandy. Well, I played my part. Looks like they haven't arrived yet, so you better get inside if you're going to ambush them. I think we're going to sit this one out, though. That's fine, we should keep a lower profile anyway. Well, I'm going in one way or another. Now, decide amongst yourselves who else will be joining me. Do we actually have to choose? Someone's worked up about this. His bravado has carried him too far to back down now. I'll go. I've been looking forward to this since we took his request. That was the person I was going to bring, too, actually. The Vice Commissioner, Lloyd, and myself should be plenty, yes? That should work. The rest of us will remain here on standby, then. Make sure to contact us with your enigmas if you need backup. Will do. Okay, you two, let's head inside. Yes, in we go. Okay, we requested that your wife and that man be seated at the table over there once they enter the club. I see, that'll do just fine. If it turns out he really has some crooked real estate agent, I'll see to his arrest myself. Believe me when I say I'd love to see that. Don't look now, but I think that's them over there. Excuse me, I have a reservation for 2 under Clyde. Yes, right this way, sir. My, but this is a fancy club. Is this your first time visiting, Margaret? I would think you've already seen everything Crossbill has to offer with your husband so high up in the police. Please, that's a riot. He may be Vice Commissioner, but his salary is peanuts. He'd much rather drink the night away at some hostess in a dingy bar than take his own wife out to dinner. My apologies, then. It may only be noon, but allow me to kickstart the proceedings by buying you a drink. I'd be happy to accept. Don't worry, Vice Commissioner. Quiet you, I don't need you telling me what to do. So what if the snooty little tap room is beyond my means? A dingy bar suits me better. What's so wrong with that? Nothing besides your overwhelming inferiority complex. Bringing him with us was a mistake. Shall we get down to business, then? Clyde retrieved what appeared to be a contract from his briefcase. As you requested, the purchase agreement for the villa in Michelin's residential area. Simply sign your name on the dotted line and it's all yours. Oh, how I've been waiting for this moment. I'd be more than happy to sign. You're right. It's a contract for a property at the resort. So, what's the plan now? We still haven't learned whether this deal is on the up and up or not. Stay. Stay away from my wife, you charlatan! What? Pierre? Oh no. This can only go well. What in the world are you doing here? Cancel this deal at once, Margaret. This crooked realtor is swindling you. I beg your pardon, just hold on a moment. Crooked, I haven't done anything wrong in the least. Oh, funny joke, comedy man, you can't fool me. Pierre? You're whining and dining my wife, buttering her up and taking some kind of ridiculous loan out on this property, aren't you? Pierre? It'll be a cold day in Gehenna before I let you sink your grubby claws into us like that. Pierre? Stay silent, woman. As the CPD's Vice Commissioner, Pierre... I'm sorry, Snookums. That was the quickest surrender I've ever seen. Did you hear that whip crack? You go, Margaret. Goddess, how do I put up with you? You're supposed to be Vice Commissioner. How could you so blindly jump to the wrong conclusion and treat this man like a criminal? Have you no shame? Well? I'm sorry, please forgive me. Hold on, are you saying this is all a misunderstanding? Wait, it is? Well, now I'm hooked. Go on, Margaret, spill that tea and don't leave a drop. Very well. First, Clyde here is a respectable realtor who deals in luxury properties. Your assessment was wrong to begin with. There's nothing crooked about him at all. But I understand we don't have nearly enough funds to splurge for something like that. Actually, I recently took up trading stocks in my spare time and I've been making a tidy profit ever since. This is the part that doesn't make sense because everyone's losing money in the market because of the cross-bell and independence thing. These past few days have earned more than your salary could in half a decade. Stocks? To be honest, my patience with you has reached its limit. You're a pitiful man who can hardly look his own wife in the eye. Even your position was only earned through luck and connections. I don't know if it's just so you can avoid being at home with me, but your late-night drinking binges are straining our finances. You were in a much better mood when you thought you were the next commissioner in line after the old one was dismissed. But then the other vice commissioner was chosen over you. Your sour grapes have made you grouse and complain incessantly ever since. Isn't that a little harsh, ma'am? Quite honestly, I didn't think I could live with you any longer. That was the reason I consulted Clyde. I hoped to use my earnings to purchase a home for myself. The plan was to separate from you before eventually filing for a divorce, originally that is. Out come the claws, now it's getting good. Were you born without the ability to feel compassion? Wait, did you just say originally? Huh? I did. You organized all this because you were afraid of losing me, didn't you? Up to now, you've been too afraid of me to step foot in the house. I'm impressed that you went through with all this. So tonight I want you to come home so that we can sit down and talk this through, together. Margaret! I'm very sorry, Clyde. We're going to have to put this purchase on hold. That can't be, Margaret. We were just so close. It's not as if I canceled the deal entirely. But it was wrong of me to negotiate alone. I look forward to discussing this again in the future. Pierre and I may not be separating, but the property still interests me. I'm sure I'll purchase it eventually. I would have preferred to close the deal today, but I suppose I can't force you to sign a contract. I'll just excuse myself then. Turns out Clyde wasn't guilty of anything in the end. Makes me feel kind of bad for suspecting him the way we did. Who cares about his feelings? What matters is that we kept the Vice Commissioner's sinking marriage afloat. I should be going too, Pierre. I'll see you again tonight. We have plenty to discuss, so come straight home after work, understood? Yes, Snookums. And so he dons the leash yet again. Excellent work today, Triple S. We're glad that everything worked out in the end. It's a relief to know that your wife wasn't being taken advantage of. That's all well and good, yes, but now I'm going to be paying out the nose for a villa I've never even seen before. Thank the gods for not getting a divorce, at least. I suppose we can use the new place as a weekend retreat. Margaret did seem charmed by it for what it's worth. Yeah, man, sometimes you gotta give in and let the lady have what she wants. Besides, funds are coming out of her own stock market earnings in the first place. Which is a wholly different can of worms. How did Margaret even manage to? It's funny, another reminder of how much more capable she is than me. You reap what you sow, as they say. Be that as it may, as long as I'm still a married man at the end of the day, I'm grateful. You have my thanks, Triple S. Anytime, Vice Commissioner, you can always count on us. We'll just show ourselves out now. And not look back. So that was an awkward one. So, yeah, I finally get to put a legitimate break in these, and when we pick up next time, we will be probably doing the extermination. I'm feeling a little bloodthirsty. I'm the Hero of Light, thanks for watching, and goodbye.